Michael Benajay, Trevor Cooney, and now maybe Malachi Richardson wiped off the Syracuse roster for next season. Fans were given t-shirts with the seniors' names on it, but what was more important was the 83-73 victory that the Syracuse team walked away with. A little concerned with injuries for all three, but if they stay healthy, it will be a triple threat backfield for Gang Green. How do you feel doing all of these nice things for all these great causes?
Well, I mean, that's what Hope Week is all about.
When we asked Malachi that question, Benajay said, well, he was just a little angry because he hasn't gotten his hair cut yet. So there was definitely some jokes going on in the locker room. It was another memorable weekend in the Bronx as the Yankees honored not one but two former players. On Saturday, the Yankees retired Jorge Posada's number 20. Heading into this season after such a successful year last year, especially for you personally, you led the team in scoring. Where have you seen yourself improve in the offseason? He's coming fresh off his second MAC championship win with Bowling Green, and before that was his first head coaching job with Eastern Illinois, where he groomed Jimmy Garoppolo, who's now the backup quarterback for Tom Brady on the New England Patriots. Kayla Traynor has had one of the best careers in program history, and just like great athletes do, she left her home turf for the last time in legendary style. When you hear future Olympian, one can assume it means a lifetime of training. In Justin Knight's case, he started as just a sophomore in high school.
He told the track coach that, oh, I got this guy that beat all your track guys in my gym class. And then the track coach said, no, there's no way, he must have cheated or something. And my gym coach was like, no, I was beside him on the bike the whole time. So after that, they invited me out to track practice, and I did a couple of workouts with them, and I kind of fell in love with the sport.
Knight's love for sports began with basketball.
Justin Knight.
And even though he discovered track, his role model remained a hardwood icon.
Michael Jordan, always and forever will be. So the amount of hard work that he puts in towards his sport, first one in the gym, last one to leave, and who doesn't like that? I try to bring the same concept into track.
And he has done just that, even if it means winning nationals without a shoe.
I got my shoe back. That was a crazy moment. Coming down the stretch, I know the guys were kicking on me, and I said, you know what? I'm going to be really upset if I lose this race just because I lost my shoe, so I'm going to do everything in my power to win.
As just a sophomore in college, Knight has accomplished more than the average student his age. But what's next for the Toronto native?
Later on this summer, I'm going to try to make the Olympic team, hopefully get a couple standards under my belt, and if I get the standards, then I'll run a really fast time.
After the NCAAs, he'll compete in the Canadian Nationals to qualify, but Knight says training for the Olympics won't be any different than his routine now. Ariel Epstein, NCC News. Pearl Washington was known for his crafty crossovers and late-game heroics, but the people close to him remember him as Pearl, the person.
Syracuse, the last shot. Washington, 2 seconds. Oh! The Pearl ends it at the buzzer.
He just left the court immediately. The hero's gone. Elvis has left the building.
Pearl Washington is said to be the man who put Syracuse basketball on the map. It wasn't just on the court that made him great. In fact, the university's head equipment manager since 1983, Kyle Federley, said Pearl's personality was unmatched.
Always had a smile on his face, always please, always thank you. It was unbelievable what a great kid he was.
The Pearl goes up against Ewing, and he's got it.
He even made lasting impressions on Syracuse athletes who played before his time.
When he had his surgery for the first time, I was there with him, with a lot of his friends and fans. And I went over there and I hugged him and I kissed him and on the forehead and said, my friend, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I had no idea he'd be gone 6 months later.
Pearl's lasting impression on Syracuse University was even felt this year when the equipment room supplied the men's basketball team with number 31 warm-up shirts to take the court earlier this season.
They're always repping shirts was just something that Nike did for every team, all the Nike teams, but they put Pearl on it for us. So that was really, that's kind of special.
So now Syracuse alum and former NBA greats have been posting their condolences to Twitter. Jim Boeheim, the head coach of the Syracuse basketball team, said there was no better guy and nobody who has meant more to our basketball program. You will be forever in our hearts. We love you. And then former Michigan State Spartan Magic Johnson said, rest in peace to the best ball handler I've seen in my lifetime. What a compliment. Vice President Joe Biden and ESPN's Mike Tirico also took to Twitter about the major loss to their alma mater. Reporting live from the studio, Ariel Epstein, NCC News. Expected turn of events for Syracuse basketball this weekend. Time for NCC Sports. I'm Ariel Epstein. Syracuse's men's basketball team wasn't even supposed to make the tournament, right? Well, after making it all the way to the Elite Eight, the Orange was still being told they got lucky because of the Michigan State upset in the first round. So now the question becomes, what does it take to be taken seriously in this tournament? Well, how about a win over the #1 seed Virginia? And head coach Jim Boeheim knows exactly what it takes entering his 7th Elite Eight appearance of his career. But London Parentes doesn't want to make it a happy one. He hits a 3 from the top of the key. Virginia up 35-21 at the half. And now, just when you thought the game was over, begins the Malachi Richardson takeover. Not only did the freshman put up 21 total points in the half alone, but he put the Cuse within 6 with that 3 with just over 7 minutes to go. Richardson again, this time he penetrates down the lane. It brings the bench to their feet. Now, take a look at this play. Richardson gets his own rebound, and just like that, the freshman leads his team on a 12-0 run and onto their biggest lead of the game, 64-58. Look at that fake on Mike Tobey. Richardson not ready to hang it up on the season just yet. Last chance coming up now for the Cavaliers. Down 3 with just over 12 seconds to go. Devin Hill looking to be the hero, and it's off the rim. Syracuse pulls off the upset 68-62 over #1 Virginia. After this game, Syracuse said it was all about the defense.
We were just able to get stops. You know, I felt like we were rushing them. You know, that was able to force some turnovers and some rush plays. So, I mean, it's just an unbelievable feeling.
I mean, we were able to get some stops. Malachi made a huge play at half court when he saved the ball. I mean, that just flipped it for us right there.
The team will head down to Houston for its second Final Four in 4 years. Who would have guessed Syracuse basketball in April? They'll take on ACC rivals North Carolina on Saturday night. Moving on to men's lacrosse, #5 Syracuse traveled down to Durham to take on longstanding rival #11 Duke. The last meeting between the two was last spring when Syracuse beat Duke to win the program's first ACC championship. Coming off a tough overtime loss to Johns Hopkins last week, the Orange looked to bounce back from that first loss in this game against the Blue Devils. Ben Williams and Brendan Fowler at the face-off. Jumping ahead to the second quarter, SU with a 3-goal lead. Dylan Donahue rolls around his man, finds Sergio Salcido, who rips it in over the head of Luke Aaron. Sneaks it right under the crossbar, and the Orange double the Blue Devils 8-4. And Syracuse keeps rolling. Tim Barber this time underhands it to find the bottom right corner of the net. Let's take another look right in between the legs of Aaron. But Duke makes a comeback late in the game, tied at 14. Miles Jones to Deemer Class 15-14. Class finished the afternoon with 7 goals. 3.5 minutes to go. SU needs to tie it up, and Salcido winds up, and the ball rolls into the goal. SU ties it up at 15. Now we're going into overtime, and it's Duke that comes up with the face-off. In OT, Jack Bruckner finds Chad Cohen. Quick dodge and slips it past Warren Hill. Sudden death overtime, and Duke completes its comeback with the 16-15 win. Syracuse will be back on their home field next weekend to take on what could be its toughest matchup of the season against #2 Notre Dame.